Pleasant good afternoon to all those who are experiencing afternoon at this point in time, depending on the part of the world you are. Good morning, good night, as the case may be. Once again, I'm back with you through my channel, bringing a vital word that I will share today with you. And as I mentioned last week, we'll divide up the presentation into a few parts. I'll start off with a motivational word, then I will speak about the services that we offer, and then I will go into speaking about the topic today. The topic today will be entitled "The Both Sides of Pride." But before getting into today's topic, I will like to share the motivational word. As citizens in the world today, we are all aware that we are living through the COVID-19 pandemic with no apparent end in sight. And the health experts have said that through vaccination, they are hoping to achieve herd immunity. As we know, the debates are spiraling fast and furious in terms of effectiveness of the vaccine, etc., etc. But today's topic is not to address that. But what I am drawing an analogy to, just as they have said that through vaccination that they hope to achieve herd immunity, I am saying that we also need to develop herd immunity against negativity. There is so much negativity being spewed by so many people that it has become a hindrance to the mental health of many other persons. And as the great Les Brown said, we must not make the negative opinion of others become our reality. So how exactly can you do that? It is clear from the field of psychology that if you speak positivity into being, if you condition your mind in terms of positive outcomes, if you develop a positive attitude, if you have a growth mindset, the mind tends to follow the instructions that it is given. So in order to develop that herd immunity against negativity, at all costs I advise you to avoid negative situations, negative people, negative commentary. So avoid it, run from it, stay away from it, and cultivate an atmosphere of positivity at all times. So as Wayne Dyer said in one of his books, for every negative thought that occurs, through auto-suggestion, replace it with a positive thought. So make it a daily practice. Every time a negative thought occurs, immediately replace it with a positive thought. Obviously, through practice and over time, that certainly can become your reality. So that's a tip in terms of assisting you to develop herd immunity against negativity. So let us avoid negativity and focus on what is positive. Of course, negative things are part of life, but we must do our best to rise above them and to think in a positive way to encourage the positive outcomes that we hope for. So having shared that word with you, I leave you to digest it, reflect on it, and of course practice the tip offered today. So once again, I would like to inform you that we offer services through Motivational Speaking International Limited, a company that was established in 1998, and we have conducted a number of workshops in the areas of leadership, customer service, the role of psychology in business, emotional intelligence, entrepreneurship, conflict resolution, marketing, community development, cooperatives, you name it, we have conducted a workshop. So if you're interested in a workshop in any of those areas or other areas, we'll be quite willing to offer those services. I also mentioned that I'm a consultant and life coach, so I'm available to offer that kind of services to you. As you notice through the motivational words, that is just one aspect of the coaching. We also strive to make others be placed in a position where they can better fulfill their potential. As we know, there is always some area of weakness amongst all of us, and there is always a need for a coach. So as a life coach, I'm offering my services to you in terms of whether it's study tips, in terms of starting and setting up a business, in terms of maintaining a positive mindset, in terms of identifying your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, in terms of strategies to help you grow. I am available through my life coaching sessions to provide those services for you. So we are open for appointments. We encourage you to call 1-868-778-5141, 1-868-779-2544, or you can email me at leadershipwithadifference@gmail.com. So call at your earliest convenience, book an appointment, and let us move the project a bit further through these life coaching sessions. So at this point, I will get into today's talk. And as I mentioned earlier, the topic today is the both sides of pride. Now, why such a topic? As we all know, in life, how you present yourself is a very important indicator of what you are telling the world. So we need to be very careful in terms of how we brand ourselves, because everything we do, consciously or unconsciously, we are making a loud statement about who we are. So we know that it's important to present ourselves in terms of our attire in a way that could leave a positive impression. Long time we had the talk about your Sunday best. Given the times that a lot of persons were experiencing in terms of poverty, etc., it was said at that time that at least one day of the week you should come out looking sharp, was on a Sunday. Now you do not have to have the whole of clothes to present yourself in a clean and decent manner. So we are saying that make sure that you are neat, make sure that you are clean, make sure that to the best of your ability and your circumstances, your clothes are in good condition, and that you could make a good representation and a good presentation to the world in terms of how you define yourself. So proper attire is an important feature of that self-definition. The manner in which you carry about yourself, your composure, your poise, etc. These are things that people take notice of. Whether you are taking notice of it, other persons take notice of it. And if you pay particular attention to those areas, you'll always be in a position where you are creating a positive impression of yourself. In other words, you must take pride, right? Take pride in how you carry yourself. Take pride in how you attire yourself. If you love yourself, as in the earlier broadcast I did about exploring self-love, if you love yourself, if you take pride in presenting yourself in a certain way, you know that exercise must be a regular feature of your daily routine in terms of maintaining optimum physical conditioning and keeping the engine running in a certain way. Because if you want to produce to the best of your ability, it is important to keep the engine well oiled, and exercise is certainly a vehicle through which you can do that. If you take pride in being a strong and healthy person, you got to pay attention to your eating, all right? If you take pride in presenting yourself in a certain way, you need to pay particular attention to how you speak. At the end of the day, you may not necessarily be a public speaker, but every time you speak, you convey to the world, you convey to those who are listening a particular impression about yourself. So proper language is important, eloquence, proper vocabulary, proper grammar, etc. These things are very, very important because they leave a positive impression about yourself. And if you take pride in who you are, pay particular attention to your manner of speech. For example, sometimes you may even be right about something, but sometimes if you allow the circumstances to get the better of you and not maintain a sense of pride and dignity, you may put yourself in a very difficult situation in terms of your language use. So under pressure or not, ensure that you do not sacrifice pride in the whole process. In terms of how you write, whether it's on social media, whether it's in an exam room, whether it's in communicating in whatever form, you need to pay attention to how you communicate. For example, your tone of communication, I mentioned about grammar before, the structure, etc. These are things that people take notice of. For example, if you are applying for a job and the application letter is filled with grammatical errors, oftentimes the employers will just throw the application in the dustbin. Because if it is that you couldn't take pride to ensure that you construct a proper application, why then they should take you seriously and consider you to be employed with your organization. So whether it's writing, whether it's speaking, whether it's dressing, whether it's interacting with others, take pride in what you do. If you are employed in a job, through a job, take pride in your job. Whether you are satisfied about the pay or not, work diligently, work purposefully, work in a manner that the employer could say, he or she, that you are really taking pride in your job. Go beyond the extra mile, because it mightn't be a job spec, but because of the level of pride you take in your job, the level of pride that you place in the organization who employs you, you will be showing a high level of pride. If you are filled with pride in terms of whatever task you are engaged in, passion will be overflowing, right? Passionate people are people who wear or place a high value on pride. So pride is a very important virtue that all of us must display in terms of branding ourselves, for ourselves and for others in a positive way. But there is also a flip side of pride. Hence the reason I entitled today's speech, The Both Sides of Pride. Now there's something called ego. We all have egos, and being able to manage your ego is very, very, very important in life. Because from the time your ego becomes inflated, sometimes that is the beginning of problems in terms of relating with other persons. So we need to temper our pride, because the flip side of pride is obviously arrogance. And because of arrogance, there are many individuals who are filled with that kind of negative pride, who believe that they are better than others, who believe because they're from a particular community, because they have a particular educational status, who just believe from a mistaken point of view that they are better than the rest. That pride, that negative pride, tends to overflow in how they interact and how they operate. So some persons who are filled with that level of ego and false pride, they are, they buff their chests, they are filled with zest, they are perched apparently on skyscrapers, looking down on others. Their ego has grown so tall that it surpasses Mount Kilimanjaro. It surpasses the Himalayas, Mount Everest. They have grown so tall in pride that they are equating these towering mountain peaks that I just mentioned there. And that kind of attitude comes out as they interact with others. So they look down from on high to the lesser mortals. And of course, as I said, they compromise the quality of relationship that they share with others. They believe that they are the best thing since sliced bread. They believe that they are God's special gift to the world, and there are no others comparable to where they stand. But the important thing with that pride, sometimes it stems from a very, a position of inferiority. So as in the field of psychology, according to Alfred Adler, people with that inferiority complex, they compensate with a superiority attitude. And really and truly, it's truly a compensation, because they do not feel well internally, and because of that unwell feeling that they experience, they pump out all that negative energy to those who come in contact with them. As a consequence of that, they find great difficulty in relating with a sense of humanity to others, because arrogance is the main ball game with them. And when other persons have to contend with arrogance, conflict, confusion, bacchanal, you name it, obviously are outcomes that really only soil the true quality of how human beings really should relate. So let us recognize that the positive side of pride is the side to hold on to. And when we hold on to that side of pride, as I itemized earlier in the presentation, we place ourselves in a position where we will always give a positive impression to the world. So please do not flip side pride on its backside, because arrogance is something we can do without. So thank you again for listening to another word. I know you have received the message. I know you will consider the word. I know you will try to the best of your ability to ensure that positive pride supersedes the negative side of pride, which only is costly to humanity. So thanks again for taking in the word. Thanks again for spreading the word. And as I said at the beginning, let us develop herd immunity against negativity. And in doing that, we need to push false pride and negative pride away to ensure that we can maintain that positive atmosphere. So stay tuned for more weekly presentations on a Monday or any other day if Monday is not possible. And spread the word, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, feel free and comment. Encourage others to subscribe to the channel, because these messages, we want the word to reach as far and wide as possible. So thanks again, and see you next week for another presentation. And just to remind you of our services, call and book your appointment for a live coaching session or for a workshop in leadership, in communication, in making yourself a better person. Call us at 1-868-778-5141, 1-868-779-2544, or email at leadershipwithadifference@gmail.com. So thank you once again.